One very difficult question to answer for most people is, do you want to be rich or do you want to be wealthy or do you want to be famous? I can tell you honestly, being rich means, first let me make the distinction. Being rich means earning a lot of money and having a nice lifestyle, a great lifestyle, a super great lifestyle. So you're earning 100 rupees, you're spending 100 rupees, you'll have a great lifestyle, assuming that 100 rupees is big. So you have a nice big car, you have houses, you have cars perhaps, maybe if you're very rich you have a plane, and you have a lifestyle which is envious. Everybody looks at you and says, wow, what a lifestyle. That's the kind of, but you're perhaps not saving enough, perhaps you're in debt. And you see this happening for people in show business, and in show business it's a little necessary also to do this, because when you are actually not successful, when you're not succeeding, you have to show that you're successful. So heroine at the age of 32 does not know whether she's going to get more roles or less roles, or maybe at 35 she does not know whether she's going to get more roles or less roles. So she is going to spend a lot of money on her makeup, on her dietitian, on her exercise, on everything else, right? On cars, and she has to do that. She has to spend money impressing people. She has to throw parties, attracting potential directors, right? So she has to keep doing all that stuff till she realizes that it's not yielding returns. So it becomes very difficult to be in the film industry and not do these things. So you have to keep doing these things, and for that, even if it means going into debt, it's like a businessman saying, oh, I'm in trouble, so I'll borrow money, and one day when I make money, I'll repay. So it's a little difficult lifestyle kind of situation if you're in the film industry. However, today many people get carried away by seeing other people's lifestyle, and they get into debt maintaining that lifestyle. So that means you are rich, but you're not wealthy. You could be in debt, trying to show off, right? So the question is, what is wealthy? Wealthy is when you have created assets which are perhaps not visible to the world, but which will put cash in your hand. So some investment which puts cash in your hand, that is creating wealth for yourself. So becoming wealthy is a loftier aim than getting rich. Very many film stars of Hollywood or Bollywood you can see who would have made a lot of money but lost a lot of it, and therefore now they are into almost being poor. You see that happening, right? So what are the things? So what are the things that you look for to get wealthy? What are the things that I have realized? One, to get rich is easy. I mean, it's not, I'm not saying it is very easy, but you need to get a good job and be in the right industry, maybe migrate to the right country, and you will earn money. But to become wealthy, you don't need too much money initially to start with, but if you find the right asset class and you keep investing regularly, good chance that you will become wealthy. And becoming wealthy is the more useful goal rather than just wanting to be rich, because there's no point in trying to show off to people that you're rich and then actually finding that you have no money. And a lot of film stars have done this in the past, because films just stop coming. People just don't want to watch your movies, or if you're a businessman, that business doesn't work. For example, if you had a photo studio where you were processing roll films, there's no business today, right? That whole business is shut down. So maybe if you're at real estate and you sold off, you made some money. Otherwise, your profession is no longer making money for you, right? So tastes change. These things do happen. But when you get too wealthy, you are sure that your dividend income will come. Whatever else happens, your dividend income will come, or your rental income is coming, something like that, right? So becoming famous also is not very useful, because then you attract unnecessary attention. Being wealthy, you can have a lot of assets and be well below the radar. You're just like what the book describes, the millionaire next door. Nobody knows that you're a millionaire. You're driving a small car. Nobody knows what kind of mutual funds or unit-linked plans or direct equity that you own, or real estate that you own. At least in real estate, there is some visibility. In case of mutual funds, there's no visibility. I know people whose house I can walk in and I know that they've got, say, 1000 crores in mutual funds, or somebody who's got 50 crores in mutual fund. These are not rich. These are 1000 crores is extremely, extremely rich. 50 crores is very, very, very rich. So it's more or less same for those kind of people. But yes, nobody would know about them, and they could have a neighbor who's got maybe 50 lakhs in debt, right? So you could see these two people living together. He's really the billionaire next door, right? So okay, not billionaire, or rupee billionaire perhaps. So that is the kind of money which some people have, and it is not visible to you at all. So what happens is, it's just an attitude towards wealth. So though some people come from families where they are taught to be frugal, they're told that being frugal is good, and there are some families where they live it up. So those kids who have had parents who lived it up find it very difficult afterwards also in life to save money, and they suddenly realize that their parents who were living it up great have exhausted their money at the age of 64 or 65, and they could live another 30 years, right? So that is the challenge, because longevity is going to be a big problem. So people who don't have substantial amount of money, who have not ever thought and not ever aimed at financial independence, suddenly don't have money to retire, and they could be forced into retirement. They could be their company could be shutting down. I do think if the dollar takes a hit, for example, if I'm 60 years of age, there is no time in my life when I have not seen dollar appreciate. So I can't even understand what will happen if dollar depreciates. Let us assume for a minute, today we are in 2023, let us assume for a minute that in 2033, the dollar is about say 10 rupees, right? Are we ready for some scenario change like that? No, we are addicted to saying, oh no, the dollar will always appreciate by 5%, right? So what if it does not appreciate? That I have seen. What happens if the appreciation is very small over a 10-year period? What happens if it is still 60 rupees at the end of 10 years, which means the inflation in India and inflation in US was same? Then what happens to the earnings of companies in which you have invested? You have to start thinking in all these terms, and therefore you will try to build a bigger and bigger portfolio, right? So like somebody called you and said you need 1 crore to retire, but you also realize that a friend spent 30 lakhs in COVID for his mother, right? Or so then you are saying, oh my god, 1 crore seems to be enough, but what happens if a COVID like situation happens? So you keep on building moats for yourself and doing all those things. So when you start doing that, even small amounts of money help. So start small, don't worry about the size which you are starting, because if n is long, if you're starting young, maybe you started at the age of 18, maybe you started at the age of 20, then by the time you're 40 you would have a reasonable sum of money. And also because you've lived frugally, you need less amount of money to be financially free. So put all this together and you will realize that this is a part of your financial independence, or your retirement plan, or your wealth accumulation plan. These words can be used interchangeably. You find out which path do you want to go on, right? So that is your job.